Hello and welcome to the Gambling Files podcast, the podcast that isn't so much lactose intolerant as... You heard that, right?
Yeah, I heard your dog.
He's just making a lot of noise today.
It's all right. We're a dog-friendly podcast.
I was just remembering something my first love said.
Oh.
This would have been back in about 1991. She said, life's a cow, then you realize you have a milk allergy. And that
that's really sad.
Well, she was going out with me. She had every right to feel sad, I think.
Feel lactose intolerant.
And I'm a cow.
You bring me out in hives, John. That's what I'm saying.
That must be it.
Sick to my stomach. Poor girl.
Yeah, I definitely made her bloat. But no, it's just thinking about the way that language and understanding of things evolves. Like now you would say lactose intolerant. You wouldn't say milk allergy.
Okay.
It's funny how things change.
Deep.
Yeah, well, time passes, Finton, and the world changes. And if you don't change with it, what are you? You're a dinosaur. Not even a dinosaur. You're a fossil.
Yeah, sure.
It's the same in business, Finton. There's been instances, not saying in the gambling industry, but instances where you've had CEOs who've been utterly, utterly visionary in the past. And they've got legendary reputations. But it turns out that their approach to women in the workplace is also in the past.
Okay.
And
fuck's this guy?
Controversial things happen that have no place in the modern business.
Jesus Christ. I'm just like, don't get us sued. Don't get us sued.
I'm just saying that you've got to evolve.
Look, I worked for a company that had a full-size Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton in the cafeteria.
The Natural History Museum.
No, and it was to remind us to keep evolving, or we end up like the dinosaurs, or something like that. There was some like message.
Don't get hit by a meteor. It's a very pertinent message, and one that we can all learn from.
And it was pretty ironic, given. Anyway, I probably shouldn't have started this, but yeah. Anyway, it
Don't get us sued, Finton.
It was pretty ironic in hindsight. Anyway.
But a solid investment, because those dinosaur bones are probably fairly valuable now.
Well, it was a replica, but it was one of those really expensive replicas based on the actual thingy or something like that. It was fucking...
Well, did you see that recent auction for a dinosaur skeleton? Did you see that one?
Yeah.
It's a record for a skeleton, but also one of the most intact skeletons ever found. But yeah, big business in old shit. Sadly, it doesn't, spread out to reach old
freelance content writers.
People.
The mature gentleman.
So I've been using Substack a bit, and obviously we use Substack for the thing for this podcast, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I remember to send it this month, I promise. This time.
And Substack's really interesting because it started out as a.
I think they've jumped the shark, but go on, I'll let you finish.
Well, it started as a platform to, I think,
send emails.
Well, what they should have been publicizing it as is a newsletter platform.
Yeah.
But it's been promoted as a way for writers to monetize being writers. Correct. And so what that actually means is that it's full of people who are trying to tell you how to be a writer. And saying things like, if you've got time to breathe, you've got time to write. Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't work like that. And people assuming that you can monetize somebody sitting down and just putting their bullshit thoughts into a blog. And some asshole's going to pay for it that's not related to them. It's very strange.
Well, look, I have a couple of issues with it. I think they've added more and more features, and the core functionality is actually, like, even just getting to the core, like send an email thing, is a little bit tricky. And they had a feature for the podcast. So I was trying to add the podcast newsletter so we could send it out, but they wanted everything hosted on their thingy and stuff. They've really squeezed it too hard, and they haven't made it simple. So I'm actually thinking of switching to Beehive, which is what all the cool kids are using right now for sending newsletters. But it's, yeah, but like that whole fucking, like, be a writer and, you know, journal every morning, and like, it's just all that, like, advice, advice type shit is mostly bullshit, or it boils down to like three things of, if you want to be a writer, fucking write. And if you're not writing, well then stop pretending to be a writer.
But I've been taking some people to task a little bit on there with their absolute bullshit.
You see, that could be your thing. That could be your thing, right? That's your niche. You see, now you've defined your niche of just heckling.
But like,
and then you become the heckle guy. It's brilliant.
There was a person on there, and they were saying that, you know, don't listen to what anybody says about your writing if it interferes with your core vision. And I'm like, but there's loads of different kinds of writing. And if it's a commissioning editor that's saying, do this, then actually that's a really important perspective if you want more work afterwards. And they're like, no, your core vision's what's really important. I'm like, no. No. If you want to be commissioned to write an article for a specific publication, you do what you've been asked to do by the time you've been asked to do it. And that's what you do. And actually, it's not your voice or your vision that's important at all. And yeah, the lady disagreed.
One of my favorite writing quotes is, there's no writer's block on the news desk. And I like that a lot.
What does it mean, though, Finton?
It means when you got a fucking deadline, you got to bash out that 400 words. You bash out that fucking 400 words, and it's a deadline. Stop fucking about. And a lot of it's just getting started and just getting over that inertia. It's like startups, right? You've got a picture in your head of what it's going to be like. You've got a picture in your head of the business model and how wonderful everything's going to be and how clever you are. And people get afraid to put that into reality, because the second you put it into reality, you start getting feedback, and the feedback mightn't be like, and the feedback could just be like being ignored, and the world's not, you know, clamoring to give you all their money. And that's a scary thing, because it ruins the fantasy in your head. And that happens with entrepreneurs, it happens with writers, it happens with a lot of people about a lot of things. And if you're afraid of that, or you're kind of sitting on that fantasy for however long, then at some point you just got to ask you, like, okay, am I actually going to do this, or is it just fucking a nice pretty picture in my head? And you get, I think, even just like, I've had it with stuff as well, like, where you're like, you know, like, I'd really like to do that, but I'm never going to do it because of whatever, or I'm not going to do it right now, so I'll just park it and go, yeah, it's a nice idea, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, sorry.
The world according to Finton.
Well, I see it a lot. So it's really common, and it's completely normal. That fear and getting over that initial kind of, okay, let's do something and see what happens, and then quickly get going from there. It's much easier once you've got something live, or you're actually doing something. So.
I think, I mean, speaking personally, I'm genuinely, I'm a reasonably creative sort of person, but, you know, you could argue that the last 4 years or so has been a bit shit at various points. And, I think, you know, I've got no fear of putting writing out there, putting personal writing out there about me, about my life or whatever. But, that's kind of fucking dull. Today I got up and had a shit. But I've got no worries about putting creative writing out there for criticism or, people just say, God, this is shit. Because, I think John Grisham shit. And there's a lot of other people disagree with me there, especially Ken Follett, who described him as the greatest thriller writer alive. Mr. Follett, I want some of what you're taking, please, because it makes the world far more interesting. But the people who are trying to encourage people to write creatively and give it that whole, there's no excuse not to write, just sit down and write every day. Well, I could, but I do write quite a lot for a living, and that needs a certain amount of creative juice. And also, I think I've been a little, not like hugely, not clinically probably, but I've been quite depressed, and that has a huge impact on creativity.
For sure.
And, it's like these people that just want your fucking money and for you to subscribe to them to find out how to be a writer. They don't seem to want to accept that life happens. I'm not, I'm not waiting for some optimal thing. I'm just tired.
But it's all about, so look, I get that. I would argue that it's more about your why. And this applies to anything. I'm not directing it at you and your writing, but it's if the why is strong enough of like, it's rather like this difference between saying, I would like to do an Ironman or I need to do an Ironman.
Oh, but it's not directed towards me. Fuck you.
No, it's me. I would really like to do an Ironman. Right. But then the thought of going to a swimming pool to do the fucking training is just like, no, not a chance. And so I know I will never do an Ironman unless I've got a pool in my fucking backyard. Like, it's just not happening. And if you don't have that need for, okay, no, I need to do it. And I've other races and stuff where I'm super motivated. I fucking need to do this race. Like, this is ticking some box inside my head or something that needs to happen. And then the motivation and training for that's completely different. And then it happens during the race. Like, I'm finishing this race versus, and then regardless of, like, everything goes wrong, you're fucking dying, you've messed up your nutrition, you're death marching the last 20K, which happened last November. But I was finishing the race. Like, just, that was it. And I think that's the difference. It's like, I'd like to write a book, or I would like to do this, or I would like to do a startup, or I really like my startup idea, versus no, I need to get this live and I need to get it going. And it's a different mentality. And I think you start overcoming obstacles and stuff as well. So that's what I'm saying. I think it's, and the problem with the people selling processes is they're selling you a process that worked for them. Right. And it might be you get lucky and the process that they've sold you works for you, but maybe it's like parenting, right? Everyone gives you fucking parenting advice, but the parenting advice they're giving you is what worked for them, their big epiphany moment or their big aha moment. And every kid's like, you've got 3 kids. They're all different, right? Different personalities, different things works for them. Now they're all exactly all right. But they're all different, and your parenting tips are applicable to you and Fern and the kids, and it's what worked in that situation. It doesn't necessarily mean, and it might be sometimes it's applicable, and a lot of times it's not. So the short answer is it depends. And
could you have not started with the short answer?
It just depends. It's just if you want to do it, do it. And if you don't, stop fucking around, do something else. Basically. Free up the headspace.
It's tricky though, because I've got top author Liz hounding me. I can't just give it up, Finton. She'll give me loads of grief. But then, fucking dog again. Can you hear that?
I can. Going for it. Hope it's the water bowl. He'll have nothing left. If it's a tackle, he'll have nothing left. But then the other thing is just breaking it down into chunks, right? So don't think about it as I'm writing a book. It's like, I'm going to do a character sketch or a brief outline.
But I mean, you can apply that to just about everything, can't you?
But that's what works. It's the boring answer. Just fucking do something.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the way to approach a race, especially in an endurance race. It's, let's just get that first mile out of the way and see where we're at. And I don't know about you, but I do a thing, especially if I'm on a hill, if I'm on a big fucking hill, I just break it down into groups of 4 steps. Pull the hat low. I can see 4 steps in front of me. Let's do those and then see where we're at. Well, I can manage 4 more.
There you go. That's it.
Before you know it, you're in the rhythm. And once you're in the rhythm, you can get the next mantra going, which is, I'm not going to let any fucking hill beat me. Next thing you know, you got somebody behind you going, swagger, 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 swagger. So that was last episode.
It was.
Although Lorna was there for that terrible moment you saying about, the last 20K of a race. The last 20 miles of my first marathon, I had to pretty much walk because I had to go see the doctor the week before, and the doctor was like, well, you've got a chest infection. I'm like, I've also got a London Marathon in 10 days. Can I do that? And he's like, yeah, unless you've still got a chest infection. I'm like, shit, I've raised like $3,000 for the local hospice. I can't not do it.
Yeah.
So lined up on the day, felt great. It's good. Cruised through the first 6-7 miles, and the wheels fell off completely. And to describe it generously, I walked the last 19 to 20 miles, and it was grim.
Look, a good run walk pace can outperform quite a lot of people.
No, it didn't.
No, not this one. This wasn't a good run walk pace.
there are guys that raise funds for, it's one of the Forces charities, I think, and they run in a full rhino outfit.
Oh, yeah.
That
carrying a fridge.
Got to be fucking 30 kilos. I mean, this thing, it's massive. And they just sailed past me. Past.
I've been overtaken by a guy juggling 3 balls. I've been overtaken by a guy smoking a cigarette.
I got overtaken by a guy dressed as a dick.
That would be funny.
It was like this 8-foot penis came past me. But later on I passed him. I told you this before. Later on I passed him, and he was like sort of doubled over, and it was a really hot day that year. It was like 21 degrees something doing London. Okay. It was brutal.
Hot for
absolutely
London, yeah.
Brutal. And I stopped and I said, are you okay? And he just went, yeah, just changing the batteries in my fan. He had fucking fans inside his penis.
Brilliant.
Genius. But Genius. No, by the time I saw Lorna and her mum, it would have been about, there's that point where, have you done London?
No.
You go over Tower Bridge and you go right and you go sort of through Docklands, and that's the sparsely populated. The dog's squeaking at me. Dude, shut up. It's the relatively sparsely populated part, and then you kind of come back on yourself and you go past the end of Tower Bridge again. So I sort of said to Zoe and Lorna, if you're around there, I might see you twice. And
4 hours later,
I didn't see
them
on the.
Maybe we missed them.
I didn't see them on the first bit, but I saw them on the next bit, and they just looked at me like really concerned. And I had this was post nipple injury, and I was wearing a bright orange shirt, and I said these 2 red streaks right down my front.
Oh yeah, like 2 gunshot wounds.
That was grim, and it's really funny because later on we were having dinner, and so he said it was. I tell you what was really funny, really made me laugh after he went off. He said the 2 girls next to us had been absolutely mental, cheering and shouting for everybody all morning, non-stop. He said, and they saw you, they stopped. Apparently, I just looked like absolute shit with two bleeding nipples. They didn't know how to support that.
You finished it.
I did finish, but conservatively, I was looking at about a 4:40 finish, right? Okay. Comfortably.
Sorry. Yeah.
Just what's that? Just over 10-minute miles. I wouldn't have been pushing myself to do that. But it's a very busy race, and it's very difficult to get any pace.
A lot of people. It's hard to get a lot of people. Yeah. But that's why I don't like big races.
And I think that first one I did it in something like 6 hours 40, and I'm like, fuck this.
It's a long
day.
But
the second one, I only had a cold. But again, it was something like 22 degrees, and it just completely killed me. It's just absolutely heat. Especially, I mean, I was way bigger then. And it just absolutely destroyed me.
Has a huge impact. The heat and the weight has a huge impact.
Yeah, but the heat on the weight. Oof,
I know.
It's like carrying a rhino outfit.
Mate, I've been a fat lad running in the heat all summer. It's been miserable.
Well, Fenton, shift the weight. You don't want to end up an arthritic fat lad.
I'm shifting
Trust
the weight.
me on this.
I'm already feeling the difference. Even just a couple of kilos makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it really does. Really
felt like
does.
a runner. It was great.
Well, good for you.
Who do we have on the podcast this week, John?
That is a great question, Finton. I think I missed a bit when I was shaving my head.
Oh, no.
Oh, fuck,
Gives you something to fiddle with, though. Gives you something to fiddle with.
Little tuft right at the front. I'm going to look like Phil Collins. Fuck.
Gel it.
Just grow out my fringe. Well, we're joined by returning guests,
really?
Mark Flores Martin and Adam Davis, respectively the CEO and the CRO, formerly CMO of XGENIA.
And what do XGENIA do, John?
Well, shit, that's a bit of a tricky one. It's got something to do with AI. I remember that. No, but the conversation for this episode was it was about using AI ethically as an industry, not just XGENIA. But I think the real meat of the conversation comes at the point where you say, make us a gambling files slot.
We're really hoping there's a link in the notes. So really smart lads. Their business is basically they want to be the AI engine or the AI tool provider for the gambling industry. And they're launching a whole suite of products. First couple of products, one is a tool to help you build slot games, and they literally build us a slot game in real time as we're recording, which is really fun. And I can't wait to play it. And if you're watching on video, you can see some of the prompts and stuff that they're using to do that, because he shares a screen, which is cool. They've got a tool that can build the mathematical engine for your slots game. So you can basically put in what you want the game to do, and then it'll provide the model for you that you can then use for testing, certification, all that kind of stuff. I love this approach. So they needed more in-house legal support. So they built a tool that can just basically be your lawyer. And they've rolling it out to law firms, and it's available for startups. And that's really smart. And then if they're smart guys, it feels like there's a lot more coming of different problems that they're solving.
That was secret. They couldn't tell us everything.
Yeah, there's some secret stuff, but it just means to be back and show us some new cool stuff. But then there are models and stuff for the slot games, what they want to do there, and allowing people to kind of use. And it's really, really smart. I think it's going to be super interesting watching what they do over time. And yeah, I'm a big fan.
I think that's why you led the conversation, because they're very smart. But it is genuinely really it's kind of it's fascinating, but it's also slightly terrifying, because it did feel like a big leap when they're showing us in real time what the prompts are doing. I'm like, fucking hell.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That was fascinating, and you know obviously you got some coaching in your prompts as well, so that was good. Saved you a fortune in consultancy fees.
It did. Yeah, I got some. I'm using ChatGPT badly. Talking of AI.
Oh yeah.
And doing AI before it was cool. We should thank our sponsor, Optimove. Gambling industry's #1 CRM software.
Yes. Thank you, Optimove.
They use a lot of smart tech to make you more money, analyze your data, identify your customers, segment your customers, create offers, identify customers before they churn, customers who've clearly got a bit more left in them. And yeah, really smart. Book the demo, links in the notes.
Book the demo, that's the key. We
they're
always
super
say
friendly.
That's the key.
They're at all the conferences, so there'll be somebody there to chat to as well. And yeah, definitely.
We are confident if you see the demo, you'll be as amazed as we were by it.
I agree.
That's why we say it, and that's why they had us do the demo so that we could evangelize and say, actually, have a look at this. It is the real deal.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But anyway, you know, maybe some new sponsors we can talk about soon. I don't know. I'll keep checking my balance.
F4.
In the meantime, meet Mark Flores Martin and Adam Davis of XGENIA. We are joined by this episode's, I'm not sure. I don't know how frequently we even do this anymore. But returning guests, so that's quite exciting. We're joined by Mark Flores Martin, CEO, and Adam Davis, CRO of XGENIA. Now, Adam has pointed out to us that on his last appearance, he was the CMO, and now he's the CRO, which I have to say, Fintan, I think you'll back me up when I say this, is a very cromulent title.
It's one of the best bits of business advice I ever got was you never want to be sat in a cost center. You always want to be sat in a revenue center. So I see what Adam's done with his little bit of rebranding there. He's taken his marketing skills, put himself chiefly into the revenue center.
I saw what you did with the chiefly there as well.
Hey, yeah.
That's why he's fucking chairman.
And that is brand positioning 101. Perfect. Yeah. Blue ocean strategy. Perfect.
Let's not forget as well, 101, 101 is also lol.
For years, I thought it was a little head with two arms just doing that. Woo! I always thought it was like a woo thing.
Fucking hell, Fenton.
Sorry, I'm not up with nerd parlance. Sorry.
That's not nerd parlance. That's world parlance.
All right, it is now,
but because you guys were coming, obviously I got dressed up.
You're looking good.
Thanks. I'm going to tell you
hacker chic is what he's gone for.
I'm going to tell you this is a linen t-shirt. It's not. It's just cotton. I just didn't iron it.
But it gives the feeling, it's the whole
linen effect. So I can give you the impression that I'm somewhere hot when in fact I'm in an overcast Wales, or as we like to call it, summer. So gentlemen, the opportunity for a conversation came up and we thought, it would be interesting because, artificial intelligence is quite a hot topic in the industry. I keep using the phrase can of worms. Because I don't know who puts worms in cans. Adam, the term canning is, I think, American in origin. We would say tinning in the UK. As a North American, would you can worms?
Would I can worms? Well, if I had to get rid of them, I suppose. We try not to can anybody we want to keep, right?
Worms are so useful.
I see what he's done there. That's clever. That was good work down there. You missed it, John.
But why has he gotten? Why not be a CMRO or a CRMO? CROM. Sorry, but anyway, No, my
Crom.
point, AI, ethical use of AI in the gambling industry, right? So there's been a lot of conversations about this. And I know the International Gaming Standards Association has set up a board to, I guess, make suggestions about this to its members. But I think when people really think about AI and its potential usage in the gambling industry, I think people have a tendency to leap to an absolute worst case scenario where there's a cartoon villain with a stripy jersey and a little mask and a bag over his shoulder that says swag and a vacuum cleaner vacuuming money out of people's purses.
If only it was that easy. Sorry.
Fenton, you're always wrong with this industry. Let's first sort of establish a context. What are the most likely, most common usages of AI within the gambling industry, both customer facing and back end?
So I think predominantly I think you have to take two areas of AI. There's the machine learning area, which is the part that is used currently in gambling, learning customer behavior and predicting things, the basics, of old AI or machine learning. And then you have the new version of AI, I would say, the LLMs and where those are going, I guess, with the customer facing part, I would say. So in terms of AI nowadays, where it's going is more towards creating entertainment, right? We're seeing AI is creating video. I think you guys have been seeing the massive improvements on the video generation we're seeing, right? Bigger training data means better results. And I think we're going towards that, to creating really diverse entertainment that we haven't seen before. This is where I would say AI is going, but I'm trying to avoid the evil part of it, which you keep pulling me back into. I feel that's exactly the word. That's steer towards it. There is many uses of AI. It depends whose hands it's in, and who is controlling the AI, right? We can go into.
They say no dogs are born evil.
That's correct. I believe I don't have the statistic. I didn't ever have dogs filling in forms to tell me if they're evil or not. But when it comes to the artificial intelligence side of things, we are playing a game where we're really trying to sort of close them up to do the right things and trying to train them to be righteous and heroic in their approach, I would say. And this is sort of, I think, where AI is going in the world. And in terms of gambling, it's just on the entertainment side, story building, video creation, entertainment, and taking over certain boring tasks, like slot mathematics or the generation of slot machines and various games, right?
So I think, yeah. So really, it's a cost saver, is what I'm hearing. It's kind of those repetitive tasks or intensive tasks that can just be outsourced to the AI to reduce costs, rather than, in John's analogy, like the big evil hammer to kind of whack people over the head with. Is it more a back end thing? It's more your processes, your procedures, operations, that kind of thing?
I think the way we currently see AI as let's say as a company ourselves, right? Talking from that angle, is that it's more of a pipeline tool so that people can do things and iterate faster. So if we want to see if we have an idea for a team, let's say for a slot machine team that is Star Wars versus Batman, let's say. We want to sort of come up with ideas of how it would look and get different ideas and iterate quickly into multiple stories and see what we come up with to fuel our own imagination. I think that is sort of a right way of using it. But that's where AI is today. So today, for example, taking GPT 4.0, which everybody is, I think, it knows about nowadays. There's many models around, but let's take GPT 4.0 as an example. It's compared to a high schooler, right? So the power, the intellect of a high schooler. So someone you can ask questions to, or an intelligent high schooler, someone you can ask questions to and get, good answers. So you would have called it a nerd in the back days, right? Probably bullied the guy, and this is the sort of AI we currently have. As we progress, right, and most of the AI progression, I think people don't realize this. There isn't like massive leaps recently, huge, amazing leaps in AI, but mostly we're just increasing the amount of data these guys are being trained on, and by doing that, we're getting better and better results. So today we have the high schooler, right, and tomorrow we're going to have a professor and someone who you can tell, okay, go and build this company for me, hire the people. You'll be able to do sort of really advanced stuff. So today, yes, it's more of a tool to, if used properly. I think many people don't know how to use AI. They don't know how to implement it. They don't have the ideas for it. And this is sort of, I think, where the knowledge gap is, right? And then in the future, it will be something much, much more advanced. One of my favorite quotes from AI is, the moment we invent an AI that is smarter than us is the last thing we invent, right? It's the very last thing, because from then on, AIs can start inventing things at exponential rates that is, and train themselves and boost themselves. They will be much, we have AGI and then super intelligence. And I think that's sort of going to be an interesting one once we cross that particular threshold. What's next, And we're getting quite close to it, right? We're getting quite close to it.
So a smart person once said AI is just a bunch of algorithms or equations, effectively. When I use, say, ChatGPT to do tasks, there's some tasks it's pretty good at, some tasks it's not so good at. I had one recently where I'm literally I'm arguing with it to do what I want. I needed something, rewrite this, but make it within 100 characters or so. I needed to get something to fit in a space. And it would rewrite it, but the character count was never right. Or never correct. And then I'd point out there was, give me the character count. Give me the character count of 150. What was the instruction? What should it be? And it apologizes, and I'll do it again. And you come back again, and it's still 150 or whatever. So to me, but then I've seen it used for other things like, I don't know, I used it recently for like an Excel formula. Give me an Excel formula that does this, 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 and this, and this, and this. And it was pretty complicated, and it nailed it first go. Right?
And that's...
So there's... Go on.
I think that's interesting you say. And the problem is not actually the AI. I hate to tell this to people.
Oh, don't say it's me.
It's
Boo. No, fuck that. It should just work.
No.
If it's that good, it should just work. A teenager would have got it.
This is the thing. This is the thing. And so right now we're moving to a new programming language, which is called prompting. What you enter into the AI is called prompting. If you wanted to spit out 150 characters, you can do it. You can explain to it in a way that it understands to spit out those 150 characters, and it will spit it out each and every single time, right? The key issue is that when people are writing prompts, they are not educated well in prompt writing and how to write it. So one of the biggest sort of recent acquisitions of Google, not biggest acquisition, but a large AI acquisition, was an AI that translates humans' basic methods of talking into proper prompting systems by analyzing what people have said and what they actually mean in the prompting. So this is something that I've sort of learned about AI. Now, yes, AIs, to you, they should just work. I want 150 characters. It should just do that. But it will also try and find a better way of doing it than the 150 characters that it thinks is better, unless it is being told that no, follow this specifically. Wait, but
Okay, go on.
if you're using the AI with additional parameters which you don't have access to from ChatGPT, right? But you have access to from the API, for example, you could lower the temperature of the AI. And so that by default, the temperature is 0.8 of ChatGPT, I believe, standard across all AIs. You could lower the temperature, which means basically do what I'm telling you to do. And you set it, lower it down to, let's say, 0.1. It's going to follow what you say pretty specifically. But in general, in the chat, it's set to quite high because ChatGPT knows that people don't always say what they mean. And so it gives them results which it thinks are the AI can answer better than what they think they are.
Okay. I sort of accept that answer. Technology should just work for me, not the other way around, is my view on all tech. So, okay. But when we, obviously we're calling these LLMs AI when really they're prediction engines based on, we think this is the right next word to use based on the context of the situation, right? Obviously the programming is a little bit different, but it's the AI guessing answers, right? Based on patterns and stuff like that.
Well,
is it really fair to call it AI?
Okay, so it's a good question. I like this question. So the way our human brain, let's go back to human brains, right? The mushy thing that we have up in our noodle head of ours. It works. The AIs are built on the same principle of a brain, right? So there's neural networks inside our brain. They follow the best route accordingly, and you sort of start spitting out answers according to your memories and the data you possess in your brain, so to speak. It follows a neural pathway. So you can say that you're also an algorithm designed by evolution in that way. AIs function in exactly the same way. They're being trained with neural pathways, and when they're creating something, they're following the next best thing. So when you're talking, when you're spitting out, when you're saying a sentence, you're without subconsciously nowadays, at least, you're subconsciously figuring out what is the next best word to say that follows what you're trying to say and trying to output your thought, right? AIs work similarly. I guess one difference with you is that you actually formulate the idea in your head and as you go, and as you're speaking, while AI formulates it as it goes always, right? So it doesn't But
I thought the way our brain worked is what general AI is trying to solve, where the LLMs are actually far more basic in theory. So I thought the Gen AI is the problem solving, the stuff that Google DeepMinder did with learning Go and problem solving within a parameter and figuring stuff out. And the LLMs were basically just prediction engines, which is why then you get hallucinations, bad data, bad results, made up things, because it's just guessing and it's just gone down a wrong path. Have I misunderstood the two categories? Okay,
so when you prompt so let's put it, when you prompt something, right, it is following it's using a tokenization sort of, which follows the next best neural pathway of it and to figure out the next best word, right? So it inherently isn't great at solving problems in the natural sense of the way we solve problems. But if we grow an AI large enough and make it so when you ask it a question, it's answering in a pretty smart way, right? So if you're asking it to write a Python code, it's writing the Python code. If you're asking it to create an image, it's creating the image. It doesn't follow the way we do it, but it creates it, right? Now with AGI, the next step of evolution, let's say, of the AIs is solving the probably, I think everyone is solving it different way, I guess. But I think that the way to solve it would be to have the ability of the AIs to think before they speak, which is expensive, and sort of build up those neural pathways as they go along. The thing is that we cannot, we have to retrain an AI, right? Or fine tune an AI if there's a problem, whilst a human understands, as it's going along, as it's speaking, oh, this actually is not good. So I could be speaking generally, I say, oh, wait, actually that's not good, and go back and iterate. But with an AI, you actually need to tell it what you said was wrong. That's what you do. This is wrong, right? So an AI needs to be able to think midway of what it said is wrong or incorrect, rethink what
catch
it's
itself,
done. Yeah, and that's called self-healing, right? Which is something that's available now, but it's not so great. So self-healing to understand if what it's going to say is actually wrong, and that gives the idea that yes, okay, this is more correct as to what I was thinking. So it will think a little bit before actually giving out the answer, and that's sort of self-healing in itself. And that is a way to get to AGI also, I guess. I'm not sure what ChatGPT 5 or 6, let's say, if that's the AGI level we're going for or working on. Yeah. But, that I think.
Because they are kind of getting to the point as well where they're just running out of internet to train these tools on, right? So as well, so there's kind of there's a limit to how much data they can put into these algorithms too. So you would imagine it needs to be the AGI at some point to make the big leap.
Yes, I mean, they're getting a lot more data from the users who are using it as well. And then
that's a good point.
For as we drive towards AGI, right, I think it's still going to be big time a data issue, because it's to program those neural pathways, make them better, we still need tons of data. So I think we need, and I think this is where the limitations are so far, is the data that they can get. Twitter has its own data, which is Grok, and that's pretty good because they have so much tweets from people from.
I saw their new image thing had no restrictions on it.
Yeah,
there's some crazy photo. Like there was one of like Trump holding up a liquor store or something I saw, and just absolutely no guardrails on the images, and it looked like a picture from a CCTV of Trump robbing a 7-Eleven or something. It was insane.
And I think I like the fact that it has no guardrails. I like the fact that they're giving, especially at this point in the world of AI, they're giving it out in a way that people can do what they want and be creative. I quite like that.
That's not how it works. I always had this joke about the unlimited monkeys on unlimited typewriters, and they're going to create Shakespeare. Before they get to Shakespeare, they're going to make monkey porn first. And if you create one of these tools with no guardrails on it, it just becomes this massive porn engine. Is exactly what's going to happen. It's human nature always ends up in the same. Isn't there some internet law about if you do some sort of UGC, how many seconds before the first dick pic gets uploaded or something? There's some. Yeah, it's a bit like that kind of.
That applies universally, not just to the internet, right? Like as soon as you a new sign or a new building or a new mural, like how long until somebody draws a dick on it?
There's one of it's like one of those rules about like whoever says Hitler first in an argument loses or something, or there's these kind of.
Well, that's clearly not true, and you'd have to be a fascist to suggest that, Fintan. Frankly. I maintain my policy as well of whenever I'm in a meeting, I'll have my notebook, like this notebook here. I have my notebook and I'll just be like, yeah. And then when I put it down, what I've actually done is I've just drawn a page of dicks. And it's a nice way of just seeing who's trying to read your notes.
So let's talk about you guys.
Yeah.
You're doing some really clever stuff using AI for casino games and maths engines and these kind of things. So give us a rundown. What's going on? What clever stuff are you doing? How are you going to take over?
Bring it.
All right, awesome. So the first product we have brought to market is the slot machine creation system, right? Which includes the animation system, sound, music, and all these, bringing together the capabilities of a singular AI, and bringing it together as a team, training each team member individually to be able to excel at different tasks, and improving memory, which is one of the biggest issues with AI at the moment, and sort of having them to create really powerful slot machines, and also understanding now from user feedback, mainly the developers that are using the technology, what is working, what they like, and why they don't like it, and sort of using that data to help the AIs understand what they've done wrong and why they've done it. So that was the first product. And now the next...
I have a lot of questions on this, but before we get on to the next one, I have a lot of questions on this. So you've built an AI that can build slot games? Have I got that correct? Right, I'm going to pitch you an idea. Mm-hmm. How quickly can it build a slot game?
In under 10 minutes.
Right. Gambling file slot game. Let's go.
Gambling file slot game.
The Gambling Files podcast slot game. Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, what else do you need? There's your prompt.
In what style? Let's go for a style, because you can also upload a style, so I can take...
What style?
Anything.
What are we thinking, John?
If you guys like a particular cartoon style, or you like a particular...
Do we have any style?
Karate Kid. Cobra Kai.
Ren and Stimpy would make more sense.
Pinky in the Brain.
The Ren and Stimpy it is. I like Ren and Stimpy.
Pinky in the... Can we do Pinky in the Brain?
He's right. He's Pinky in the Brain. It's just
Pinky in the Brain.
Wow.
So let's...
Only one of us is ex-Google.
Only one of us is pink.
Let's build it. Why not? Let's create your guys' own slot machine. Brain.
It better be good.
I want a 50% RTP. I want a juicy for the
Only
house.
50% RTP. Where are you based? Vanuatu, by any chance?
I saw there was athletes from Vanuatu at the Olympics. Did you see that?
Did they have a gambling sponsor?
There was like 2 of them, I think. It's hilarious.
Well, next time there'll be about 800 and they'll have a gambling sponsor.
No, they'll have a Forex. So all the FX brokers are getting licensed. Or not all of them, but the really interesting ones.
John and Finton. A slot machine called the Gambling Files.
What could possibly go wrong?
John,
this is the start of Skynet.
Of elite podcast enthusiast.
Seems legit.
The gambling industry. In the style of Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah.
Because they act like them, of course.
Is this how the world ends?
We launch our slot machine on the world.
And then everything just goes to shit afterwards.
Think of the royalties, John. Think of the royalties.
Is it a causal effect, Finton? I just want a little island, just to myself. Doesn't even need a house on it or any vegetation. Could be an atoll.
Let's see. It's starting to build your game.
What the fuck? This isn't scary at all.
So this is the AI talking back, who's listening, taking the different. Yeah, so you really should check the video for this. All right, so basically, there's different personas doing different tasks within the AI.
Correct.
And like asking different things. Wow, smart.
So these guys
also, Fenton, you're going to be called
because
Fento
then you can program each one to take on, right, your rule set is this, and that. Okay, that makes sense.
No, it's decided that you're going to be Finto because it's already completed. It's found it very simple, so it's already completed. It's going to be.
That still works.
Finto work. It's what my dad calls me. It's fine. It works. It knows me better.
Nice potential for a spin-off upsell product with a soft drink called Finto.
Niche. That's a niche one. Love it. Okay.
So we'll wait a few minutes. It will start. The slot machine AI will kick in.
What should we do while we're waiting?
Probably
let's keep
having
talking
a discussion.
Yeah, let's keep going while this is going, then we can come back to it when it's ready. Oh no, okay. Okay, so I'd interrupted. So I got excited about this. So you've got this engine which we're seeing literally in real time.
Hang on, we're pulling off a casino heist in this, Fintan.
Are we?
A casino heist.
Are we always?
I cannot see the rest of the text.
Whirlwind of gambling escapades.
I think this has already backfired on us.
Love it. I like it even more now. My life's one big casino escapade.
It maybe knows what you guys are up to, secretly.
I think it knows us better than we do.
It's dug into, it knows your real name, Finto.
We've enough audio on the internet as well to be completely cloned, so that's easy. Okay, so AI game generation in effect right now, and then I cut you off. You were about to say, and then you guys moved on to the next bit.
Yeah, and the next bit is something that I think the gambling industry has been crying for and think it's and haven't managed to figure out, which we've built through AI through a lot of training and a lot of tiers, maths engine system. Basically, you can ask for any mathematics model by saying, I only need a 96% RTP with a volatility of 40%, free spins, cascading reels, and something that is from my imagination that hasn't been created yet. And I need this to be super exciting, whatever. I will start building out, creating a custom formulas, custom mathematical equations. Something went wrong with can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. So we lost you at custom mathematical equations.
Yeah, it builds custom, and then it tests it fully and sort of starts building out the whole mathematics model whilst you go basically and rest. So this is something I would take in months normally for a mathematics team. I'll stop sharing my screen just because I think it's killing my audio.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, there we go. Hopefully that's better. So, and then it sort of exports the entire maths engine for you with everything you need to get it certified. And that's it. And all the work that would have taken, a few people, couple of months, is done. And these guys, the mathematics experts in the gambling world, will have a much easier time, testing and creating models and creating their ideas. And for those that don't have access to mathematics experts, they can build their models using the AIs by themselves, right? And testing it there and having everything done for them, which is a massive sort of boost in this industry.
That's a huge time saving.
Yeah.
That's like a really crazy, because obviously the maths engine behind slot games are the secret sauce,
exactly,
so to speak. And being able to then have spend more time tweaking it and making it this and making it that, and being able to iterate really fast.
Exactly.
And then I presume then you could run simulate, okay, here's the engine, or here's the formulas, simulate 1 million spins and let's see what happens really quickly. And so you could iterate super fast.
Yeah, it takes care of that. So it has a testing engine. It has unit testing engines behind it. We're building more and more. So you can, it will take care of the AIs will go through all the tests. How fast if a user plays with $100, how long before he runs out of money over 10 million players? How is the RTP over 10 million spins? And it will run through depletion tests, a lot of different tests to make sure that model really works. And if you have a really creative idea, like let's say you're coming up with mega ways, right, for the first time, and you describe it to the AI, it will go ahead and try and build out the code for it as well, and then take that into the maths engine and sort of test it and give you the end results as well. And, keeps doing that. So it takes a while.
Wow.
It takes a lot of processing power to do it. It can take anywhere between an hour to, it's really complex, 3, 4, 5 days, right, of running the AIs. And as you saw, the teams, there's a special team designed for the maths engine. And they're sort of really going at it to create really exciting games. And as time passes by and we fully understand and the AIs, are fully understanding what is more exciting, what is a big driver, then these maths models will start to outperform all the other maths models quite significantly, right?
And that's before you even start putting back in real gameplay behavior.
Exactly.
And have it kind of become self-reinforcing or self-learning. Wow.
So it takes all that knowledge that few people in the industry have, and it brings it to everybody really who's using this tool to build their games.
So you could also then reverse engineer other algorithms. So, like, I don't know, let's say Megaways is a good example, or say Buffalo, one of the Buffalo games or something like that. Just do 1 million spins, have it learn, and then say, right, here's the formula, here's how it works.
Technically you could, but I think through proper AI iteration, we can come up with even better mathematics models without having to reverse engineer or upset anyone, right? By reverse engineer. I mean, yes, you could technically point the AIs at a particular engine and have them iterate it and figure out the model. Could be done, but we don't recommend you do that.
Oh, no, for sure. But it shows how versatile it is in terms of what can happen there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's...
And I guess the bottom line secret
phenomenal.
has always of these engines is the volatility and the excitement of the bonus rounds, along with the different little knickknacks you have, right, which makes the game more exciting. But people need to be winning often, right? Which, if you see the top rated games, they all have quite nice volatility, right? So
yeah, that makes sense. Wow. So that's also available, or are you guys still working on it, or where's that in the?
We've finished the AI part of it, so that's the tough part is done, right? We're still going through some iteration training as we're testing it, and we're getting it out now to some maths experts out there to start using it and giving feedback on it, seeing if something is wrong or everything is good to go. And from that point on, we're deploying it to customers, and they can sort of start doing it. At the end of the day, it gives you a packaged file with all the code. You can just put it on your server, deploy it, deploys an API, and you call it by calling spin function. And it's done.
Wow.
So
that's very neat. I like it. I like it a lot. And what else are you guys working
on? We have a few little knickknacks in the pipeline. Some of them we cannot really talk about because they're we think that they're quite cool and will be also a little bit of game changers. Like, we've kept this maths engine under wraps for a while as we were building it, because lots of people in the industry think it's impossible to be built. And to be honest, up to a month and a half ago, I was starting to think they were quite correct, because we really weren't getting there until we figured out one technique with AIs that we could get them to do things as we wanted them to do in terms of maths modeling. So we had a breakthrough, let's say. But one thing we can talk about that is coming out soon is the lawyer AIs, which is going to be quite important. So these lawyer AIs will be distributed to one legal company per country at first. So we will get it out to them to be able to use. And for everybody else, it will be available for free. So anyone who needs legal advice, maybe doesn't have access to lawyers or legal lawyers, they can go in and they can make use of the AI, right? There will be credit systems so that nobody is overusing it, right? Because it would cost us an arm and a leg. And then sort of that's the main reason why we're deploying it to lawyers is to help them, right? To be able to do things faster, but also be able to understand where the AIs misunderstand legal clauses and these type of things. But they're going to be trained on basically most of the laws of the world, plus heavily on the gambling laws, right? Because obviously an AI lawyer just knowing gambling laws is useless, right?
Yeah. Okay. So that's super interesting, because when you look at, somebody was talking to somebody the other day about this, like say financial analysts, in terms of, the AI can read a balance sheet and can read a P&L statement. Do you really need the financial analyst to crunch that for you, kind of thing? And then law firms the same, like it's the juniors doing all the legwork, checking the case law, checking the whatever for the partner. And a lot of those low level grunt work style jobs are often like high paying office jobs for sure, but very time intensive, seem not massively a risk, but like if you're a law firm, you can do a lot more now with a lot fewer staff.
That's true.
Or you can hit the dream of every lawyer being able to bill 48 hours a day instead of 24 hours a day, right? That's their other dream. And then wasn't there the guys in America who'd hit that automated tool on Twitter that would dispute your parking tickets or something? They've weaponized that, I think, now with AI or something, where it's like this huge business.
Yeah, I mean,
that's really clever stuff.
That's a love of everyone, to get out of a parking ticket. And these guys are doing a great service to society, I would say.
Yeah. So okay. So let's take if we take the lawyer about. So let's say new regulation coming in Brazil. Let's take Brazil as the easy example. New regulation coming in Brazil. There's a bunch of new rules, and there's things like bonuses aren't allowed if they are, I don't know, I think you got to do a deposit or so. There's some kind of rules around that. So there's sometimes bonus now. So you could feed in the new draft legislation, and then start asking it questions of, okay, what if I wanted to do this? What if I wanted to do that? Or how does it work?
So it would actually pull in that new legislation as it's happening or as it's announced, right? It's also sort of learning from different verticals, but it would pull in that data. The tricky part is making sure is on the retraining part. So as new data comes in, this is why we don't have AGIs as well, is because we cannot just learn. It cannot just learn and make those neural connections on the fly, right? So that's a big issue. So if something new comes in, it's going to struggle to prioritize that and connect it with other things. So you would actually need the engine to be retrained, the AI to be retrained, right? So I think this is one of the biggest issues that's going to be coming out. So how we plan to solve it is obviously with constant retraining going on in the background, right? And fine tuning those models. But yes, once a new law comes out, goes out of draft into thing, the AI will know about it instantly, probably before any lawyers will have it or trained upon it. That AI will sort of be trained immediately. And then what it will do is will reiterate. If you have a gambling company, it will reiterate all your documents to make sure you are in compliance.
So okay, so because obviously we've all met the lawyer working for the gambling company that just says no to everything, and then there's that rare, and we talked about this with Isabel in the last episode. There's that rare unicorn who's like, okay, I see what you want to do. Let's work together and figure out how we make it happen. Can I tweak my lawbot to make it more commercially minded, or we've just received a big fine, so I just wanted to say no to everything and be super conservative? Like, how flexible is that? Because obviously the law, there's so much interpretation in law, right?
Yeah. So I think when it comes to the current iterations of AIs today, I think you need to understand the limitations, and it's a tool that is supposed to be used for lawyers, right, to facilitate their job, right, and not a replacement for lawyers at the moment.
Sorry, that's a good point. I've already replaced the law firm.
You've already taken
I've got
out,
a bot.
right?
Let's go.
You've taken them out. I'm like, no, this is a helper for them.
They're dead to me.
Finally, we've gotten rid of those lawyers.
Who's fucking laughing now?
My brother's a lawyer, and he's a gambling lawyer. I hope he isn't hearing this. He's like, some guy who is creating trouble. But actually, he's also our lawyer, so he's safe. And for those that don't have access to a lawyer, right, it can act in a way as their lawyer, guiding them through things which they might not realize, And there's so many issues and caveats and problems you might encounter you don't think of it. That this is why we're sort of bringing it out also for free, to help all those smaller companies be able to access legal resources that otherwise they would not be able to have access to. And obviously ChatGPT is not trained on gambling law specifically. It's not an expert. It's it's, as they say, a master of none. So you need something that really, really understands what you're doing, and then sort of really fine tune on that and building up that way.
Got it. Wow, that's a really cool tool. It would be very exciting to see how that works out. Because obviously
quite a few
the
more
law industry's
coming out, but the others, unfortunately, are currently in secret box mode. But I think these are the ones that are next in line, right? Which is, important to our dream, let's say, where we want to get to as a company. And so it's going to be quite.
So where do you want to get to as a company? What's the big vision?
The big vision of XGENIA, I would say, is to become the powerhouse of gambling games. So, like, even potentially a marketplace where creators, influencers can come on, create games. That's why we have the training tool where you can upload, like we created for us, Pinky and the Brain. You can upload a style, which might be your podcast style if you have one, or anything else. Now it's Pinky and the Brain officially. We've made it official here. And you could create your own games. You can sell them off to gambling companies. And it's sort of like you're in a safe zone, running under our license. So, we can ship out those games very, very quickly. And, we'll be that big marketplace for games. With our technology, you'll be able to build right now slot machines, but we're doing a lot more, right? You're going to be able to build crash games or any game you can imagine. So we're working a lot on the technology side to bring this out to creators, and people who.
Okay, so I don't have. Okay, so because if you look at the normal way a game gets built and distributed, so you've got a game studio either licenses some IP or smart bunch of people inside the room come up with some ideas and they make a game. They're either big enough where they've got direct distribution into gambling companies, or they're part of a network, or they kind of feed into a bigger distribution pipeline. But what you're saying is, let's say we'll take Fintan and John as the examples here of content creators or IP owners. Like it could be Jake Paul wants to do something, or Kylie Minogue, or I don't know, whoever owns The Sopranos, or whatever. So any of these IP owners, I know it's just how my brain works.
Where did Kylie come from?
Long story.
Probably from the grok porn that he was creating yesterday.
Well, it'd be because you do like, didn't she have the song "I Should Be So Lucky"? Wasn't that Kylie?
She did.
Perfect slot game theme tune, right?
Yeah. So creators like her would be.
But
sorry, go ahead.
But the creators could come in. So the creators could come in as the IP owner, upload like images, sound, logos, color schemes, say with like give inputs. I want this, I want that, and basically make their own game under your license. So they've made their game, and then because they've got their audience, they're kind of telling their audience about it. The audience are excited to play it. Great. And then obviously the bigger they are, the better. How does distribution work? Like, so if they want to get it live on somewhere, could the creator put it on their website? They're not a gambling firm, so they couldn't put it on there. So they'd need a gambling firm they'd need some sort of distribution. Then will be the next stage, right?
So there's a number of ways to to distribute it, right? And we consider, since we're considering ourselves like the AI platform that will empower all gambling companies, we're not competing with anyone which is not directly inside of AI, let's say. So, for example, if you guys create a game, right, your interest is to profit from it, right? I mean, this is why you've created it. So you could you have a few decisions, right? You can distribute it for social, which we will also be offering right directly, so people can play games socially, which is very important to our data gathering. And then you can also say, okay, I'm open to people taking this game, making modifications and bringing it back in the store as long as I get this percentage, right? So game studios could pick up that, who might not have access to that particular IP, pick it up and, take it a bit further, develop it a bit further, So there could be that. And then obviously there's the standard ones, right? Which is through aggregators, which we have contracts with, and, pushing it out, which we're speaking to quite a few at the moment to be able to push out these games, right?
The remixing ones. So that second one where, like, if you look at, say, TikTok and these kind of like the trend is to take this situation, merge it with this meme, create a new thing.
Exactly.
Or plug in this music and do these kind of things. That remixing thing, that's not something that happens in the gambling industry very often. There's obviously people stealing other people's ideas and kind of passing off as like, oh, it's different. But the deliberate kind of, here's some well-known IP, mixing it with this, see what happens.
Exactly. So you still have that base IP which you created, which could be something that people really love, and people are building upon that. They're still getting a commission, so they're happy. Might be smaller, of course, because you own that IP and people are layering above you. You have nothing to worry about in terms of legal compliance. Everything is handled by XGENIA, right? So you've not all that headache has been taken away from you as a creator. And sort of you're just pushing it out. So basically it's similar, as you said, to TikTok, but it's for gambling, and we're creating innovation inside of the gambling industry to create better games faster and bringing creators that simply could not exist in gambling as it is today. Because right now you have a studio, you're hiring a bunch of developers. The guy who wants to gets the game idea probably has no clue really how to create compelling games. Definitely the main game designers of the world are working at Sony and these big, they want to be part of a big AAA game. But these guys could come in, same guys, and say, you know what, I have some spurt. I'd love to give my hand at building, a really, fun, different style of gambling game. Whether it is slots, it could be, chicken crossing the road, it could be anything, right? They want to create some kind of new style that people can build upon that game. So it's always the original that gets the most, hype. So, for example, we have the game with the cowboy hat. Got its name now. Anyway, which everybody's been trying to copy, right? And nobody has surpassed that, right? Nobody has been able to say, same as Flappy Birds or Angry Birds and these type of games, right? It's always the original that sort of sticks. So if you can build upon that, and as you said, I like the word remixes, I might steal it, unless we're going to patent it on this podcast.
Fine. That's fine.
I like that idea. So that's sort of what, can really...
Well, if you think of like the trend for, say, crash games, which isn't going away, and then you think of all of the IP sitting in 80s and 90s video games that could easily be adapted to a crash game, or early iPhone games or something like that, early app games that could be easily converted into. So there's so much IP sitting around that could, with a couple of clicks of a button, turn into a branded licensed crash game.
There's also, this is just waiting for people with horrendous taste to do things.
Yes. And based on TikTok, people with horrendous taste get the most views.
I think I'd like to just suggest. Sorry,
go on. No, go on. Oh, no. Oh, John, your game idea.
Cow?
Your game. The one based on bullshit.
Oh, Shithead.
That's it.
Yeah, what a game that's going to be.
There we go. Here's how we get it out there.
Yeah, there's got to be. I can't quite figure out the House Edge, but there's got to be a way to monetize the shithead end game. Do you two know shithead?
Shithead?
No.
Yeah.
It's a card game?
Yeah.
I've heard of it. I don't know where hell I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
It's a good. Look it up. It's a cracker. But also, I was just thinking of a really, really like one of those games that's in such poor taste that for about a month you would have people flocking to it just to see if it's real. And you're all going to hate me when I say this. Princess Diana Crash Game.
Jesus Christ.
That was bad.
It's only a matter of time.
Jesus Christ.
We could do a whole series, right? You could do JFK Jr.
There's so much scope.
John, thanks to you. We've alienated, Meghan Markle now. Thank you very much.
I'm so sorry.
Who else has crashed?
She's a big market for us.
Don't know where the echo is.
There's going to be some good crashes on there. We've got to get some racing drivers in.
There's some echo on this.
Fine.
I think it's Adam.
It's probably me.
Sorry, Adam.
All right.
Oh, yeah, it's gone. Adam.
Adam
So sorry about that. Anybody that thought their hearing had gone bad, it was just Adam. But the potential for poor taste slot, I mean, it's big. Every time something kicks off on the news, somebody will generate a slot game based around it. And it'll be like, bosh. It'll be quicker than a Trump T-shirt.
It's only going to last through. It only has, like I said, it only has to last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
Fenton, I think I found my $1 million idea. Thinking up shit that people are going to go, no, really?
That can't be real. But you got to find the gambling company that's going to put it on their website. That's your second trick.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, I think I found my niche. Like you said, I've just got to find a way to actually make it happen.
I feel like your niche is bigger than you know. I feel like
James Dean Crash Game.
Tupac Shoot 'Em Up.
Ayrton Senna.
I feel like we're going to get in trouble with this conversation.
We are going to get in trouble, lads. It's got that English billionaire guy just drowned in a thing.
Submarine?
What's his name? No, what's it called? Hang on a sec. Let me get it up. It was just on my thing. 1 sec. Sorry.
Never mind, we can make it.
We can't have delays like this in the age of the internet, Finton.
I know. A yacht. Mike Lynch. His yacht just sunk off the coast of Sicily.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
Ah, yes.
The guy who just won the big court case against HP.
There was
also one of the lads.
Just a
Couple
coincidence.
lads that crashed off the coast of Italy, crashed into each other.
Oh, the headline I saw said it was a tornado and just snapped it in half or something. And then one of the lads has just replied, Carly Fiorni sends her regards. But anyway, niche joke. Dark humor.
We don't do that here.
No. Yes, we do. Okay, brilliant. So you guys are going to be the AI engine for the gambling industry. You've got your tools for making slot games. You've got your tools for making algorithms. As a side quest, you're conquering the law industry just for shits and giggles. And then there's a bunch more stuff in the pipeline of here how else we're using these tools to take over the world.
Yeah, I mean, with the lawyer AI, we don't have much interest in it. We need to build it because we require it for internal use, which means we need to distribute it to make it better. But that will be just something there for startups who are coming up and companies who need
it's brilliant
to be able to use it.
It's really, really great. I like it a lot. And then there's a bunch more stuff coming. So who's your ideal customer? Who would you? If somebody's going to pick up the phone and call you guys after they've heard this, who's the idea person on the other end of the
I think right now we're quite focused on studios and helping studios mainly, right? We have obviously other customers who are interested in building studios and building their own games, but mainly studios who want to, create more games, speed up their game time and their mathematics prowess. I think these are our ideal customer base today, right? And so those are the ones which we are closing at the moment and going for, and they're the most excited about this technology that's being given to them.
Where can people play the Gambling Files slot game?
I will send you a link, so you'll be able to.
Can I put it in the show notes so people can actually see it?
Yeah, I think we can. Why not? We should definitely create a tracking link for it to see how many people are playing.
See if anybody's
just
listening.
Me and John just sat there.
Me, Finton, our families.
All proceeds go to charity, Deal?
I'm not actually a registered charity.
Joke, I feel like you should go to the Diana Foundation.
You can't call John a charity like that.
You can't. It's because it's a legal term.
Yeah.
I'm going to dress up next podcast.
It's Pinky. So it was just sat here in mouse costumes.
What are we going to do tonight, Brian? Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Oh, fantastic.
I think it came out quite well.
It came out awesome.
You saw it already?
Yep. Yeah, I checked it.
Let's have a look at it. Mm-hmm.
Are we going to get sued by Warner Brothers or anything like that?
Probably.
Copyright.
Well, it really is just a fun...
yeah, it's not commercially available.
It's parody. Okay, fair
simply to show the power and it's parody, yeah. Great timing of that word. Thank you.
And I like the description. John and Finto, the elite podcast enthusiasts, find themselves in a whirlwind of gambling escapades. Each spin of the reels takes them deeper into the casino world, where they share their misadventures.
Perfect. Nothing could sum us up better than that.
Seems on brand.
I'm
elite. I mean, that's...
Hear the audio of it. There's an audio that goes with our games story. But I think
every time you press a reel, it's just going to go, shit, fuck.
God,
do you like Cobra Kai?
But yeah, I'm loading it up. Loading it up. We can have a look at
it. Are we going to try and are we going to try and share a screen and have a look at it live?
Yeah, but just give me a second because my computer is moving at the speed of snail because I have too many things open. Just give me a second. We will load
Mine
it
moves
up.
that slowly because it's old. So all proceeds go towards buying John a computer. No, that's a total lie. Of course, it all goes towards the... don't fucking... Adam, Mark, what can you reveal on the podcast what cars you drive?
I drive a Mercedes GLC.
Nice.
Is that nice?
I just got the new Jeep Avenger.
Who are you avenging?
Yeah,
good question.
Nobody yet.
But you can if you want to now.
Right.
So I did a search on, I don't know if they have Auto Trader in your respective places, but I did a search on Auto Trader based on a reasonable mileage and quite a low price. And basically the only cars that are in my budget and have done under 50,000 miles are 20 years old and automatics. Yeah, it's not looking great.
Sponsorships are available.
Yeah. Well, my car
€5
barrel
a
died.
month could help buy John a car.
My car barrel died, and so I've been borrowing Fern's car. Because when the kids come, we've got a specially adapted van. And Yeah. So, and Fern's like lease agreement or whatever it is ending soon, so she's taking the car back. So yeah, I'm out of cars. So we do specialist video sponsorship. We do.
John will do feed pics. He'll do anything.
I do cameo recordings. Not on the Cameo app or anything like that. I just do recordings where I'm dressed as a member of the group Cameo, and I will dance to Word Up for you. But that is a little expensive. Also, I don't know if you remember the Word Up video, but I'll be wearing Larry Blackman's red leather codpiece for those recordings.
That's some specialist. Charge a lot for that, John. It's so niche.
Yeah, it'd be 3 figures. £101.
1, 2, 3, yeah.
This is how it came out so far with the first iteration.
So we will have the link to that in the show notes. Adam, Mark, if you could take care of it. I don't know who that comes under now that there's no CMO. But if you could get us that link, we will certainly publicize our Pinky and Brainified selves. Fintan, in the absence of any further questions, I will wrap things up there.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this.
Adam, Mark, thank you for joining us again.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to come to join again, and thanks for your time, guys.